Greetings, people of the internet. This is Scott with CircWorks, and today is Friday, which means it is Fan Art Friday, at least for me anyway. So, today I am going to be working on a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, specifically Leonardo. And so this was a suggestion by Matt Strott, who commented on the YouTube comment section. And so yeah, if anyone else has any suggestions, feel free to let me know, and hopefully we can get those in. But he suggested the Ninja Turtles along with G.I. Joe, which I thought, were excellent ideas. The G.I. Joe, I mean, I was saying that one could kind of go on forever, because there's so many different characters. So I was thinking I might like to do some of those, but maybe as sketch cards. And so I might want to do those in the future, but I ordered some new ink. It's a manga ink, and it's supposed to, because I want to do some more stuff with my Copic markers, but the ink that I have right now, it smudges big time anytime I try to use Copic markers. So, and it's weird because I've seen people use similar ink, and they manage to do it without smudging too much, but I think they're being like super careful about it. And when I do these sketches, I'm not trying to be really critical about it. They're just, just kind of an exercise. So these aren't, works of art. These aren't by any means the best that I can do. I'm just trying to get some kind of sketch done in about an hour's time. And usually I'll have the sketch done and then I'll just ink it. So, and in a way, I want to sort of apologize for that, just because that's kind of been what I've been doing with these Fan Art Fridays. I'm just inking, so you don't really get to see me draw too much. But part of that is just trying to keep that time down, and I might do some sped up videos and things like that. But see, usually I take more time when I ink and stuff, and I don't get these wobbly lines and all this stuff. But yeah, because I've had some interest in, like, the last one that I did, and somebody who's interested in it. I won't mention it by name because I don't know if he wants me to, but yeah, and it's like this was the Elvira one that I did, and it was just like a quick sketch, and I just, it wasn't my best work, so I thought if he wanted that drawing, that I might even redo it. So, but anyway, so yeah, these are just kind of quick exercises. So, but what was I talking about? Oh, I was talking about the ink that I ordered. It's called Deleter, I think, and it's number 5. It's a manga ink, and somebody that was doing the 100 Days of Comics, Kristen Middleton, had suggested a long time ago, and I just never got around to using it. So I finally ordered some, and it ships from Japan. I think it ships from Japan. It's either from Japan, or I know originally that's where it's manufactured, or maybe it's an American manufacturer that ordered it. But it was weird because the first time I looked it up, I thought it was a lot more expensive, and then it was one of those either or things where you order it and the ink is quite expensive, or the shipping was. But this time when I looked at it, it didn't seem as bad, and there was no cost for shipping. And lately I've been seeing some weird things as far as shipping goes, because Halloween was not too long ago, and my son was he was dressing up as a character from a game that he plays. It's another Japanese game called Persona, and I think the character is just known as the protagonist. I don't think he really has a name or anything. Um, but um, but anyway, so he had ordered this wig from and it was from China. Well, I didn't realize that when I ordered it, and it said it ships in a couple days. I'm like, oh cool, this will get here in time for Halloween and everything. And then after I placed the order, it says, okay, your shipment will be here by, I don't know, November 15th or at the latest December 7th or something like that. I'm like, well, that's not going to work for Halloween. But he really liked the wig, and he also wanted to wear it to one of the conventions, as a cosplay type deal. So I didn't cancel the order or anything, but we just went up to like Walmart and found another cheap wig. It's like a blue wig, but the one we found was not anything close to really what he wanted. It was like blue and black, but it was cheap. So we figured, well, we'll just get this and you can wear for Halloween. And then, you know, we can go and once the other wig comes in, then you can wear that for like the conventions or whatever. So that's what we did. I took it home and it was kind of had some black and both black and blue hair kind of mixed together and everything. So we try to cut all the black hair out of the wig and try to style it in such a way that it looked as close to the character as we could. And it wasn't great, but he was kind of willing to, let that be, what we make the best of what we could. But then surprisingly, the day he had a Halloween party, and the day right before the Halloween party, the wig from China came in the mail. And it was just like, I was kind of flabbergasted, because if any of you guys like sell stuff online or whatever, you'll know that shipping is really a major a major expense when doing stuff like that. I mean, it costs just so much to ship, especially internationally. I mean, I had somebody order one of my prints, and I forget now I'm failing to remember the name of the country that he was from, but it was somewhere near Greece. So it was Macedonia. So anyway, so I shipped it out there, and the shipping was more than I think it was more than the actual product, and it took I think it took more than a month for it to get to him. I just sent it standard, but then for this wig for me to order this wig and it to show up less than 2 weeks later from China with no extra shipping cost. I just don't understand. I don't I don't know how that's possible. How they can do that. And the wig wasn't like they may have built the cost into the wig, I don't think, because the wig was really inexpensive, which, stuff made in China is usually inexpensive because, well, I won't get into all that, but I don't think the people making the wigs are earning very much money. But, the wig was like a $14 wig, so there's no way they could have. I mean, even if I tried to ship something to China in that amount of time, it would be more than $14 to ship it, I'm sure. So I don't understand how all that works. But anyway, so it's just interesting. So I don't know, now I read that, I mean, I ordered it through Amazon, and the ink I'm talking about, I may have ordered the wig through there too, but the ink I ordered through Amazon, and it said it already shipped, so I don't know. I ordered that, and I also ordered some red Colorase. Is it Colorase? Yeah, I guess it's Colorase pencils, because I have one. I had one that I was doing a lot. I really dig it, but it's like down to this now, and you can't find them at any of the, at least by me, any of like the big chain art stores, or art and craft stores like Michael's or Joann's or anything like that. So I do have an art store fairly close to me, Arizona Art Supply, and they've got a few different locations, and they've got a pretty pretty big presence online. I think they ship to, a lot of places other than Arizona and everything. But it's our big art store out here, and it's really a good store. Now the one by me is kind of a smaller one of their locations, and it's kind of in. I live kind of close to a bunch of retirement communities, so this is mostly retired people that, it's not. They're not. Most of them aren't doing comic books and stuff like the kind of stuff I do, so they don't really carry a lot of what I need. And of course, they say, well, we can ship it, or we can get it from one of the other stores, but I can do that. If I'm going to have something shipped, I can just order online anyway. So it's not. But they did have some of those Cola Race, but they don't. You never know what they're going to have. It's like really limited to what they have in stock, and it's getting worse and worse. And it's almost like sometimes I can find just stuff at Michael's that I can't even find at Arizona Art Supply, which is weird because it really, as far as a chain, not a huge chain, but it's local. But as far as art supplies, that's the go-to place for like, people that are doing, serious art supplies. But just the location by me doesn't have a whole lot, and it's I think it's closed on Sundays, and so it's not as, which sometimes is a day where I can get down there, Um, but so it's kind of at first when because I didn't even realize there was one out by me because it's kind of hidden away. It's just this little shop in a strip mall. It's most of the other locations like downtown and in Tempe are a little bit bigger. I don't know if it's Tempe, Mesa, whatever, somewhere east Phoenix metropolitan area. But they're usually pretty big stores with tons of stuff. So I found out this one was here, and when I first heard about it, I was like, oh man, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. It's real close to my house, and it's a good art supply store. And when I first went there, they had some like Copic markers, and they carried my blue pencil leads and stuff like that. But now it's like they don't carry a lot of that stuff, so it's almost like it's there, but it's not. At least this location isn't. I don't really have what I'm looking for. And now even like Michael's even carries like Copic markers or Copic markers. I say Copic, but I'm thinking it's most people pronounce Copic. But anyway, so it's just kind of weird. But it's just that's kind of one of those things you're always cursing every time you go into one of these places because they're not going to have what you need. But every once in a while they do, and you're like, oh, all right. But it's just anymore. It's just like you got to order online if you want it. And then, of course, there's a little bit of wait. I'm lucky that I have Amazon Prime. My girlfriend actually has Amazon Prime, but she's allowed to put like 5 different members on it, so I get to use that. So a lot of times I can get free shipping on stuff like that, which is cool. And it's usually a couple day turnaround is it, so that's nice too. But anyway, so yeah, that's but yeah, shipping and all that stuff, it's kind of I wish I could figure that stuff out and what how all that stuff works, because it just baffles me how sometimes you can get stuff shipped from way out in China without hardly any extra cost, and then when I try to ship something, just even if I try to ship something to somewhere close like Canada or Mexico or someplace like that, it's like it just costs so much sometimes, and I'm shipping like prints and things that are light, so but I guess I got to look into it a little more. And I know there's like a shipping, like, what is it, media mail? And I thought it was just, I was told that, if you're shipping books and things, because I've got comics and stuff that you can ship that kind of stuff under media mail, which is cheaper. But I think it's just educational stuff. So unless I can somehow convince people that a story about kids fighting zombies is educational, then maybe I could use that. I don't know. It doesn't look like that I could do that though. But But yeah, I'll have to talk to some other people like in the Artcasters chat and things like that, which I haven't been on lately. I've just been busy or I've had plans and stuff. So, or like Peter Palmiotti's Studio Synergy is another one. Um, Hold on, some of the light that I'm using is coming from my monitor because I'm actually drawing this not on my art desk but by my computer, and the the light from the monitor is helping me see a little bit, but it keeps timing out. So, um, but yeah, I was talking about the Studio Synergy. Um, that's Peter Palmiotti's kind of Google Hangout chat that he does. Um, that and the Artcasters. I try to get on there, but I haven't really been in the last couple weeks. So I don't know about this. Maybe this. I don't know if I can do it this weekend or this week or not. I gotta see what my schedule is. But yeah, I've been super busy with client work and stuff. So, which I probably should be working on now, but I'm just at that point where I've I've given my clients at least something, and I'm either waiting to hear back from them or I kind of holding them at bay because they're, you know, I did show them something, even though some of them are asking for the next step. But I figure I can get this in real quick because I do want to keep putting these out every Friday if possible. I'd like to do them on Thursday, but like yesterday was like no way. I mean, I had tons of stuff to get out, get done, and everything. And one particular client, it's a good client because they cut checks every week, but they need their, you know, they need me to enter the thing by the, you know, send them my invoices by Thursday. And in order to do that, I had to get a bunch of stuff done. So I was doing a bunch of cool, really interesting stuff. It's a game design project, but I've been working on some building design, and I used to do a lot of that. It's kind of sort of fantasy look. We're still trying to settle on whether it's like post-apocalyptic or if it's medieval or all that kind of stuff. Um, but yeah, so I was working on trying to get some of that stuff done, and so that's a fun project to work on and everything. Um, can't really say too much about it other than that. And then I got some. What else do I got going on freelance wise? I've got a company that actually it was a kind of a friend of mine who started it, and I didn't even realize he started it. And they do a lot of gamification design, so it's a creative firm, but they usually build whatever kind of, you know, gamification in whatever they do. And because I have, you know, a bit of game experience, that he called me up, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I didn't even realize you were doing that. So, but we're working on some, I don't know, you could call it emojis or emoticons. I used to call them emoticons, which is kind of strange because that's how I first got into doing game design. Because this was back when Facebook was new. I didn't even know what Facebook was, and I was approached by a client who wanted me to do these emoticons for, you know, Facebook, like third-party stuff for Facebook, whatever. And I had to kind of get educated on what all that was, and so that was. And then after that, it was based on me doing stuff like that I actually got into doing like social games on Facebook and all that kind of stuff. But so now I'm back to doing these, but I guess now they're called emojis instead of emoticons, or maybe they're different. I don't know. But it's weird because these things are like, I'm designing these things and they're like 16 by 16 pixels. I mean, they're super small. So you kind of have to approach it from a whole different perspective. And I'm still trying to figure out how to get these things. And I was taking into consideration when I'm designing these that these are going to be this small. So I'm trying not to put, you know, too much detail or anything into the drawings, you know, because I know they're going to be reduced, and I kept checking at different sizes, but I mean, you just can't do a whole lot. And so I showed them to them, and they showed it to the client, and I guess they really liked them and everything, but they had some, you know, change. They want them to be a little more crisp, and I've seen some of like these are for iOS, I guess. So I've seen some of the emojis that are on the iPhone and all that, and a lot of them do look fairly crisp, but I've got to do some research because I don't know how to make them any more crisp than what I already have. You know, I don't know if there's a special way, or I just assume if I design them in Illustrator and then just export them as PNGs, that that would be okay. But maybe there's a certain way I have to design those. So I'm gonna go on the net and see what I can do to do that, because I mean this could be a lot of work for me. So I definitely want them to look right, you know. But it's just weird. I mean, it's so hard to. I mean, I tried a lot of different ways to get, you know, like one was a truck, you know, and like a raised truck. And I don't know how much I should be talking about this. I won't mention who the actual end client was or anything, but I think that's pretty vague. But anyway, one was this monster truck, and so I did one that was kind of had some perspective to it. It was kind of a view where you're kind of looking down on it and everything, and it was really hard to make out at that size that it was even a truck. So then I figured that really what you have to do is just not get too fancy and just do like a profile view of a truck and keep it as simple as possible, which is weird because, you know, the art director that I'm working with, he designed some and they look real good, but he was putting a lot of detail in them, and, you know, and I was afraid that, because I don't know if they were showing the art director's version and mine to the client to see which one they would pick or how that all worked. But yeah, his looked really, really great, you know, especially at a large size. But when they reduced down, it was difficult to tell what they were. So I was afraid that the client would look at them, you know, as like a bigger size and say, well, these look better, just because, you know, obviously they did, because they had a lot more detail and everything, which, you know, I could have done, but I didn't. They just wouldn't reduce very well. So, but anyway, I hope all this stuff isn't too boring. You're just telling about, you know, things I'm working on and all that kind of stuff. But so, and then another thing I'm working on is a web design. And I just do, like, I don't even know HTML or anything like that. But I can design web design. I know how to deliver the files and just, you know, do the layouts and all that kind of stuff. So this web design project, I'm working with the developer who's actually taking my artwork and doing all that kind of stuff. And yeah, they're doing a pretty good job, I think. But the client is they're worried that it's not going to look exactly like my, you know, my mock-ups, and I think they're doing a good job, but it's like, but the thing is, the client wants me to like mock up every single thing. Like usually you create a template, and it's just so easy for the you know, developer to follow that template and just change type and everything. But it's like they don't want to just tell them that. They want me to do like a different design show them every single page, which is just a lot of work that doesn't need to be done. So I don't know. I keep trying to convince them, just have them look at the template and follow that. And I don't know. Now it is starting to get kind of boring. But anyway, so I haven't really been talking about what I'm working on here. So yeah, this is the so Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's this Leo. Yeah, it's a weird thing because I actually had to look up I don't even know the names of the different. I know the names, but I don't know which ones are which ones have which colors and all that, which is probably like sacrilege to most of these people, most of you guys watching this, because I assume if you tuning in or if you happen to stumble upon, you know, Ninja Turtles artwork or whatever, then you're probably a big fan, and I'm not so much. And when I say that, I don't want you to get the wrong idea. Sometimes when I say that I'm not a huge fan of something, it doesn't mean that I don't like it. I like Ninja Turtles, but I just have kind of a, a passing interest in them, just as more of a pop culture. I understand their what they mean to pop culture and all that, but as far as when they really started to get popular, I was at the age where I was just kind of, you reach a lot of people reach that age where you kind of get out of like cartoons and stuff because it's not cool anymore, and then usually eventually get back into it. But the cartoons and all that kind of came along right after I was getting, I was big into Masters of the Universe and a little bit into GI Joe. I wasn't as big into GI Joe, but I had some of the comics and stuff, and I would watch the show. But I was at the point where I was getting a little older, so I would watch it, but then I'd make fun of the fact that no one ever gets shot in this thing, and they've got red and blue lasers, and it's like, oh, watch, that guy just got shot down from a plane. I bet there's going to be a parachute coming down because you can't show anyone in a war cartoon that dies, and all this stuff, which you totally understand, but when you're reaching that age, you're a little cynical. So, but anyway, so when Turtles came along, and I had been familiar with the comic book series from the Eastman and Laird comic. My brother was collecting that, and he actually had some of the real early issues that are. He didn't have issue 1, but he had I think he had number 2 of like a third or second or third printing. Which, even though it was a second or third printing, it was still, I think it was still kind of a big deal. But then I had we had some of the one shots that were just about each one of the turtles and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so I knew about the turtles from that, and this was back even before they even had their colored bandanas. It was it was all, they were all had red at the time, and to the point where and I think I may have mentioned this before on another Fan Art Friday video, but I'll mention it again since it's kind of apropos. But my brother went as one of the Ninja Turtles for Halloween, and this was before you got to understand that this is way before the video. No one knew what he was except for the people who were having this. We did a party for this bookstore where we would buy our comics and stuff. They had kind of back then, I guess it was sort of a mini, just kind of a local. You might even call it what today would be considered a comic convention. It was more of a Halloween party, but they had a couple artists there, like local artists, and I remember there's a guy there who was a really cool artist, and he worked in gouache, and at the time I had never heard of gouache, and he said, well, yeah, if this is an awesome medium, you got to use it. But I just remember that, talking to that guy and seeing some of his work, and I was a kid, so I was just kind of blown away. But anyway, so my brother went as one of the Ninja Turtles. He went out trick or treating. No one knew what he was. Everyone was like, "Are you a frog or what?" I don't know. And then 2 years or so later, man, it just blew up in the cartoons, and obviously it became a phenomenon and made Eastman and Laird very wealthy men. But so when the when the cartoon came out, it just wasn't what. The comic was pretty dark, and it was. So when they adapted it, I was like, this isn't this Turtles. This is kind of, I don't know. So I just was at that point where, it just didn't resonate with me, I guess. But so like the movies and stuff, I always kind of thought that they were a little cheesy, and now now that these new Michael Bay movies are out, I haven't seen them, so I can't really speak to them or anything. But I've heard some people say they like them, and some people say, oh no, the originals were better. But I don't know. I think I've seen a couple of the originals, and I think I don't know, to be honest. Are they really that great? I don't know. And forgive me if you're a big fan of those. I know, especially, if you're nostalgic about it, that adds a whole nother level of something that, that might not might not have been as, awesome or whatever as it could have been. Yeah. So, but yeah, so I just not, as familiar as a lot of people with the turtles, but I like looking at them, and I eventually probably will watch the new Ninja Turtles, because for me it's not, I know, like when, you know, when somebody makes, what was it, I don't know, I see these things like this, the what was the latest one that I just did not, well, so a big one, like, so when I was a kid, I like Smurfs, and you see these Smurf movies that come out, and like, oh, this is just horrible. I don't even want to watch it. It's like, it's nothing like Smurfs. It's like they took the script to a Chipmunk movie, which they weren't making, and just put Smurfs in it instead. And it's just like, so that kind of stuff is, I always complain that how they keep wrecking my childhood making these movies of things. Another one I saw was like the Sherman and Peabody. I didn't see the movie, but I was like, they cast the guy from, I think, Modern Family as the voice, and I don't have any problem with that actor. I've seen a few episodes of Modern Family, and it's a pretty funny show, and as far as sitcoms go and all that, and but that's not just, he just did not is not Mr. Peabody. I'm sorry, I mean, so, and now they're doing Popeye, and I'm like, I don't know, they're gonna wreck Popeye too, and so anyway, but I don't, like I said, I mean, I don't hold the Turtles as dear to my heart, so I might be able to watch it without worrying about what they're gonna do to it. So, but then again, who knows, Anyway, so, but most of my knowledge of the Ninja Turtles is from the original comic book and everything. So that's why this version that I'm doing here, you can see what he's, I don't know if you can make that out, but there's all these Mouser droids, and I remember they've been around since some of the early episodes, or early comic books. Think we had a I don't know, second or third printing of issue 2, and I think they were in that. I could be wrong, but it's been a while. But so yeah, I remember those characters, so I thought it might be fun to have Leonardo just slashing through all these Mouser droids. I don't know if they're called Mousers. It was weird because I always thought that droid was a registered trademark of George Lucas. I thought he's the one that kind of coined that phrase, but now obviously there's the Android things and the droid phone, so that must not be the case. It's weird how stuff like that works, the copyrights and things like that. I worked on a game. Originally it was called Superhero Conquest, and what I didn't realize was superhero is a registered trademark of not one company but two. It's a joint. I've never heard of anything like this before, but both DC Comics and Marvel Comics together, these huge rivals, even though every once in a while they've done like crossovers and things like that, but somehow they got together and they have a joint trademark on the word superheroes. So technically you can't use the word superheroes. So we had this game called Superhero Conquest, and we ended up having to change it to Hero Conquest, which doesn't really have the same connotation. And we were like, well, how else do you say superheroes? I've heard like metahumans or ultrahumans, or we're trying to think of different ways, but it's kind of like, it just seems like superhero should be a generic term, and evidently it's not. So, but yeah, and I've never heard of anything like that where two companies would have like a joint trademark on something, but that's the way it is. So you can't, whenever somebody says something, oh, it's a superhero comic, and if it's not Marvel or DC, then it's technically not a superhero comic. But we need to come up with another, it's just kind of like the, tissue paper is Kleenex, you know, type of thing. People just say Kleenex, but that, you know, or people say jacuzzi, which is a spa, but that's actually a name brand, or you know, things like that that become so common. But we need to have, but there's really nothing else to describe what a superhero is. I don't think that's common like that. You can't say like tissue paper for superheroes, you know? So I don't know. but you know, stuff like that. I mean, if you're just saying it in passing, like superhero comics or things like that, they're probably not going to be a problem. But it's not something we, you know, when you got a game that's, it ended up not being super successful, but you know, even if it had or whatever, we didn't want to have to deal with all that stuff, so we had to change the name. But yeah, that was a kind of a fun game to work on when I got to do that project, because obviously I'm a big superhero fan, so it was like, you know, getting paid to create a whole new line of superheroes. You know, you know, it's kind of like, it's almost like, in a way, it's kind of like what Image Comics did, what a lot of their artists did when they broke from Marvel. Well, let's make a guy that's like the Thing, only he's gray instead of, you know, orange, and let's make a guy that's like Hawkeye, only he wears red stuff, or instead of purple and black, or you know, and so they would, you know, oh, they all had, yeah, Image all had the guy with the claws. We got to have our Wolverine guy. So, you know, Jim Lee's Wildcats has a Wolverine guy, only he's kind of a cross between Wolverine and the T2 T1000, where his blades are liquid metal. And then what was it? Rob Liefeld, did he had to have had some sort of claw guy. I don't remember, but I know Mark Silvestri had another one. I think he was like a Native American cyborg guy with claws, and so it's just, I think every single one of their heroes was based on something else, you know. So, but you know, so that was kind of what we were doing, and you know, so I can't really make fun of them too much, but because obviously we couldn't license, we didn't have the budget to license like actual Marvel or DC superheroes, so we kind of created our own. So we had, you know, we had our fire guy and our Superman type guy, and we had our guy that was kind of like a cyborg, and we had what else? We had our token female superhero, but then each one would have counterparts that were villains. So each superhero would have a kind of a darker version that was similar, but would be the bad guy. And so, and then we had our leaders and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, but I would have loved to have kept designing those things, but they yeah, the game just didn't perform as well as we thought it would. So, but it was fun to work on, and you know, it's stuff that I still now to this day have in my portfolio and everything, because I'm happy with the work and the character designs and stuff we did. So, but yeah, so we're getting there. Let's see how we are on time. So we're about getting close to 40 minutes in. Got most of the basic thing laid out. I don't, you know, again, I don't want this to go over an hour. So depending on where I am in this, because I still want to add some blacks and things like that, and I may just turn off the camera and then show what the finished piece looks like. I mean, I'm getting close, so it's possible. There's just a bunch of weird little details and things here that I'm just adding in. That a lot of it is just kind of nonsense, because you just try to make wires and things like that and try to make it look somewhat like it means something. But it's kind of fun to do this kind of stuff. But I usually sketch so loose that I don't even know what I'm doing right now at this stage. When I'm inking, I'm just kind of using my sketch as sort of a guide and then adding things to it. I really, I want to start getting into doing some tighter drawings, because I think, although sometimes it's good because some of this has a little more, if you're illustrating real loose, sometimes it tends to have a little more life to it, but then again, sometimes I want a little more detail and want it to be a little cleaner and all that kind of stuff. So, but anyway, so got most of that done, so I'm going to go ahead and start trying to pop out Leo here, make the outlines a little bolder. But yeah, so like I said, this one was suggested by Matt Strott, and if you have any other suggestions or things that you want me to do for Fan Art Friday, please just leave those suggestions in the YouTube comment section. And with any luck, like right now I don't get a lot of them, so but that might not always be the case. I mean, I don't have a lot of people watching right now, but hopefully this will grow, and then I'll have more people that want me to illustrate stuff for them. So oh, his shell should come down here. I didn't, kind of missed that. But yeah, and I think I started to talk about the G.I. Joe one. So I'd like to do that. So when I get that ink back, when I get that ink in the mail, hopefully it'll work with the Copic markers, and I can start doing some of that stuff, because I really do want to experiment more with that and do something different than just these ink drawings all the time. So, but yeah, so let me know what other things you want me to draw. Yeah, I'm probably not going to do a series of the Ninja Turtles, because even though, yeah, I could do different poses and stuff, I mean, they're kind of similar, so I don't want to do too many series. I did that with the Guardians of the Galaxy when I first started doing these Fan Art Fridays, but I want to mix it up a little bit. So what else is going on? Oh yeah, in the world of 100 Days of Making Comics, as I am posting this on Friday, I think tonight Kenny Keene is going to be wrapping up his 100 days, and I believe that he has done one video for every single one of the 100 days, which I think really the only other people that have done that are Kevin Cross, who started it, and myself. I mean, a lot of people have finished their 100-day challenge, and it's not said that you have to actually do a video for every day. I mean, that is, yeah, that was not an easy thing to do. Looking back, I don't know how I managed to do it, but yeah, I believe Kenny Keene has done a video for every single day. So I just wanted to congratulate him right here. Well, people are actually, I have people's attention, hopefully, and say congratulations, Kenny, and hope you keep it up and everything, and I really enjoy your videos. And I don't know how he finds the time, because he takes a lot of time with his videos. Like, he'll do, he's done little movies or little, skit things, but he always usually has like a topic. Lately they haven't been as, and I was kind of victim of this too. When I started off, I tried to do a topic every time, but life gets in the way. But just the fact that he's putting them out every day, I mean, it's not easy, and I can speak from experience. But he did another one where he kind of went back to his stomping grounds when he was growing up, and kind of gave a little tour of this park that was kind of a big part of his history, I guess, when he was a kid and stuff. And it was almost like a little mini documentary movie. So his videos are pretty entertaining. He always has something good to say, and showing off, the stuff that he's working on, his comic book, which is called Slayer. I hope more people get into it, because a few people have joined, but the 100 days, but I don't see them posting as many videos. So I hope it continues. I hope people keep doing it, and that it doesn't just, kind of stop. But anyway, again, congratulations, Kenny, on reaching your 100 days, and I'm curious to see what you're going to do next. You know, he's also done like I've seen some stuff that some artwork and stuff that he's been doing for like shows. And it seems like there's a lot of shows in his area, at least smaller ones, which I think I remember him saying he did pretty well at them. So that's good. It's always you always hear people, talking about how, you know, well, it's so hard these conventions to even make your table money back, which it is hard, but I think if you I think if you really think about it and going into it with the right attitude and kind of knowing what people are looking for and just I think you can do well at these shows. And sometimes the smaller shows are you can do better than the big shows. I've got a show coming up called Phoenix Fan Fest. That it's a brand new show. It's put on by the same people that put on Phoenix Comic Con, but it's a different venue. It's going to be in December, which is you know whole different out here in Phoenix. That's like night and day because um, Phoenix Comic Con is during the summer where it's upwards of 115 degrees or so. So this now is when we get all the what we call them snowbirds because they come from where it's colder um, to like live here for the 3 winter months when it's nice out because this is like the perfect time right now because it's just now kind of getting out of the 90s. Well, I don't want to say that that's not ideal. 90s isn't ideal, but it's been like during the day, it's it's been kind of in the 80s, so it's lately, but it's kind of going up and down. It's weird, but still, I mean, this is October we're talking about, so it definitely is nice not to be where it's super freezing cold. And if you want the cold, like my dad's got a place up north in Flagstaff, and sometimes we can go up there to the snow and everything. So it is nice because you can kind of get the best of both worlds. If it's hot, you can go up there, and then if it's you stay down here when it's too cold. But yeah, so I'm interested in seeing how this show goes, and I'll keep everyone on top of what's going on with that. Um, but yeah, I just got a table this time. I had a booth at the Phoenix Comic Con, but this time I just got a table. So we'll see. I'm curious to see how I do there. But it should be fun. I've got it's probably a little over a month that's going to happen. So we'll see. Yeah. What else should I do here? I'd like to see. That's what I'm talking about with the inks and the Copics and everything. Because I'd like to add some color to this guy, but I know that if I try to, it's just going to smudge it. So once I'm anxious to get that manga ink and try it out and see how it works. I don't know if any of you guys watching this have ever tried using that any manga ink, this deleter, which they've got different versions of it. They're like different numbers. Like the one I have is deleter 5. Not that I don't have it yet, but the one I ordered. But then they've got other versions of it too. So I don't know what the difference is really. Yeah, I don't know much. I'd like to add some blacks and stuff in here. I don't know how far I can go with this. But we're coming up on an hour, so I'll just keep going until we reach that hour mark, and then, like I said, I'll continue it after that, and we'll see See where we're at. But then again, I don't I don't want to put too much more work in this because I got to get back to work on stuff that is bringing in some cash. But I do miss doing the fan art and everything, and just because I was doing Inktober and posting something every, you know, every day. That was nice. Well, except for the days I missed. I think I got about, out of the 31 days, I think I got maybe 22 days. So better than nothing, but yeah, it was hard just coming off of 100 days of making comics and then doing a whole nother challenge. And now now in November, there's another one that's, it's 30, what is it, 30 characters in 30 days? Someday I want to do that. But, yeah, I can't do that. I can't make that kind of commitment right now, not after all this stuff. It's like all these challenges are in the holiday season when I'm busy, you know. You got either over in October where Halloween is, and if you're like me, you got tons of stuff to do for Halloween, or I don't know, whatever, or you know, Thanksgiving and Christmas and all that kind of stuff. So. But yeah, so I don't know how much time I got, like free time this weekend, but I want to also get back to working on my video series that I'm going to do. I've been working on some little props and set pieces and things like that. And it's not something that's like super elaborate. I mean, I guess compared to what I was doing before, it is a little bit, but it's just finding the time to work on this stuff again. I built this set in my closet. It's like kind of an underground lair type factory set as a background for the video, and it's all, you know, it's almost done, and then I've got to work on like an intro for it and all that kind of stuff, but I just haven't. There's always, you know, like all these projects and things are going on right now with Halloween and everything, so. And want to get back to doing more stuff on my comic. I put some time in the day before yesterday, and I wanted to, you know, continue to do these updates. But so far, I mean, as of yesterday, I wasn't able to put that 30 minutes in, and it's just killing me. But I just had to get some other stuff done. There wasn't any way around it. I mean, I got up at like 6 o'clock and worked till, you know, around 12, pretty much straight. So just did not have the time to put in for the comics, but maybe this weekend I'll have some time. I usually get a little reprieve on the weekends, and depending on what I got going on. I know I'm supposed to go out to Tucson, and I should check because I know I'm going to Tucson, and I know there's a Tucson, it's either, I don't know if it's Tucson Comic Con or Tucson Festival of Books, which is a huge event. It's like one of the biggest book events in the country, and I'm wondering if it's that weekend. If it is, I wonder if I have time to check it out. Probably not. But yeah, I'm going out there. My girlfriend has some friends that are coming in from out of town and visiting some other friends that live down there. Or, yeah. So it should be kind of a fun little road trip there. Yeah, I almost moved down to Tucson once, and if you've ever been to Phoenix, if you think Phoenix is a desert, wait till you see Tucson. I mean, there is like not a blade of grass in the whole city. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but man, it is like desert. I mean, there's no, you know, and part of it's, I mean, the friend's house we went to, they kind of live on a hill, and it's really nice because it overlooks the desert and everything, and it is beautiful, but just driving around in town. I mean, just like, oh man, it is a desert. But I almost moved down there. I got an offer to work at as an illustrator for Lisa Frank, who, if you guys are familiar with that, they make a lot of, like, it's mostly like girly stuff like unicorns and rainbows and kitty cats and stuff like that. So, but they have a pretty big facility out there, and at the time, it was, well, maybe I'll move out there, because I was doing a lot of vector illustration, and that's kind of what they needed, and they offered me a job, and I'm like, I don't think it was bad pay, but it wasn't, for me anyway, it wasn't worth moving to Tucson for. So, and I had even looked at moving halfway, and all my family lives in Phoenix, so I was thinking, well, maybe we can move halfway there, and I can kind of just make a longer commute. But I'm kind of glad I didn't do that, because I don't know how that company's doing right now. I know I still see they're hiring people here and there, but at the time when I went there, they had this really huge facility. I think they were in the 90s. I think they were quite a bit bigger than they are now. I could be wrong, but they were also, and I have experience doing like videos and stuff, and they had a whole like video production thing. They were going to start getting into animation and all that kind of stuff, and I haven't seen any kind of animated properties from them, so I don't know if that ever happened. So I don't know. Curious. But yeah, I'm kind of glad I did stay here. I don't know. I could probably call this thing done. I mean, I can always add more, but let's see. Just a few more blocks here and there. I'm about at the end of my hour limit, so, and I do want to do I do want to start doing some other ones that are a little shorter, but right now I can't. I just don't have time to do the time lapse where I draw it and then I got to go back in and narrate over it. Even if I speed it up, I've just got too much other stuff to do. So, I don't expect everyone to sit through this whole thing. A lot of people that are artists, sometimes they'll just put it on while they're drawing, and I appreciate that, but feel free, you don't have to listen to me talk the whole time if you want to just speed through it, and I won't be offended at all. But yeah, I think I mentioned this before, but I do kind of like the long form videos, but with artists talking and stuff. But okay, so my camera cut out on me, but I'm almost done anyway, so it's probably telling me that I don't have any more space on my phone, so I got to figure out how to clear up more space. So we'll call this one done, and thanks everyone for watching, and and just humoring me with this little fan art experiment that I've been doing for a while, and it seems like people are enjoying it, so I'll continue to do it. If you have any suggestions of things you want me to do in the future, please let me know. I really do appreciate those suggestions, because sometimes I just don't know what to do. So get them in while I have time to do them, because when they start flooding in, I might not have the time to do that. But anyway, thanks. Please, if you like this video, then like it on YouTube, comment, let me know how it is. If you haven't already subscribed, please do that. And until then, I'll see you guys next Friday, if I don't see you sooner, for another Fan Art Friday. And that is all.